Chapter 6, Part 1, The Hidden Letters. The storm had broken in the night, and the morning found Ashcroft Manor washed in a pale gray light. Raindrops clung to the tall windows of the library like beads of glass, and the scent of damp earth crept in through a narrow crack where the casement didn't close flush. Miss Marple stood alone in the library, her figure small against the massive shelves. Her gaze fixed on the writing desk that had once belonged to Sir Reginald Fairfax and later to Julian Harrow. The desk was imposing. Oak, with brass handles worn smooth by generations of use. It had the air of authority, as though it had witnessed secrets too heavy for words. She had asked for a moment's privacy, and Inspector Reed, though skeptical, had granted it, muttering something about the old lady chasing dust. He didn't understand. Miss Marple's entire life had taught her that it was precisely in the dust where the truth liked to hide. The uneven drawer. She bent over the drawers, opening each with deliberate care. Most slid smoothly, filled with ledgers, letters, receipts, all ordinary remnants of a life of estate management. But one drawer, third from the bottom on the left, stuck slightly, as though something caught against the wood. Miss Marple tugged gently. The drawer gave way at last with a faint scrape. Her keen eyes narrowed. Inside lay papers neatly stacked, but the back panel of the drawer caught her attention. The grain of the wood was subtly misaligned, lighter in color, less worn. Her hand hovered only a moment before she tapped it with her knuckles. Hollow. With the quiet patience of someone accustomed to darning socks and mending seams, she pressed at the edges until the false panel shifted free. Behind it lay a bundle of letters, tied with fraying ribbon, the paper yellowed with time. The secret bundle. Miss Marple drew them out carefully, her heart steady, though her breath caught. She set the bundle on the desk, untied the ribbon, and spread the letters open like fallen leaves. At first glance, they seemed mundane, correspondence about estate matters, notes from solicitors. But among them, one series stood apart, written in a heavier hand, the ink blotted as though the writer had been in agitation. Sir Reginald's unmistakable signature adorned the bottom of each. Her eyes scanned quickly. The content chilled her blood more than any draft in the old library could. I can no longer in good conscience leave this estate to those who think only of profit. It must serve a higher purpose. My intent is to alter the will, to divert much of the Fairfax fortune to charitable trusts. Letter after letter echoed the same sentiment. Sir Reginald had been planning to rewrite his will, not merely to make adjustments, but to cut deeply into what his heirs had long assumed would be theirs. Motives emerging. Miss Marple pressed her lips together, her fingers resting lightly on the paper. She thought of Lady Helena's dignified calm, of Charles's thinly veiled anger, of Beatrice's nervous contradictions, of Edward's debts and desperation. To any of them, such a discovery would be ruin. To all of them together, it was motive enough to whisper in dark corners, to exchange glances heavy with suspicion, to silence a man who dared undo generations of expectation. And yet, Julian Harrow was the one who died. Why? She read on. One unfinished draft lay among the others, Sir Reginald's pen trailing off mid-sentence. I know one among them has already discovered my intent. They will stop at nothing. The ink broke, a blot of finality, as though interrupted. A knock at the door, a sharp knock startled her from her thoughts. Inspector Reed stepped in without waiting for her permission, his brow furrowed. "Well, Miss Marple?" he asked, a trace of impatience in his tone. "Any luck with your rummaging?" She smiled faintly, slipping the letters back into their bundle. "Luck? No, Inspector. But truth, yes. I believe we are beginning to glimpse why this tragedy took place." Reed frowned, but she held the bundle just out of his reach. "These letters may not only explain Harrow's death, Inspector, but also who feared what he represented. For if Sir Reginald intended to alter his will, then Julian Harrow's presence here, his knowledge of these letters, may have threatened someone's fortune." Reed's eyes sharpened. "Are you suggesting the heirs killed him to keep their inheritance intact?" "I am suggesting," Miss Marple said softly, that greed, when cornered, often lashes out, and sometimes it dresses itself as accident. The first shape of truth. The inspector muttered under his breath and left, clearly troubled. Alone again, Miss Marple returned to the desk. Her eyes lingered on the final draft, with its chilling half-written warning. The letters gave her more than a motive. They gave her a timeline. Sir Reginald had been silenced before he could finalize his changes. And Julian Harrow, whether he discovered the letters or threatened to expose the truth, had met the same fate. The pattern was clear. The deaths were not random. They were the pruning of threats, carefully executed by someone with much to lose. Miss Marple tied the letters once more, her hands steady, though her heart told her that the next step would be far less tidy. She had uncovered the reason for murder. Now she would have to uncover the murderer.